This is a snake. This is a bee. A bee buzzes. Buzz. A snake hisses. S. When do we use the s sound? And when do we use the z sound? And what's the difference? Let's find out. The two sounds, s and z, are very close and cause endless confusion for students. There are some rules, and the rules are normally to do with the voiced and unvoiced sounds. A voiced sound is that made when we use our vocal cords. Z is the voiced form of the sound s, which is unvoiced. Put your fingers on your throat when you say the word buzz. You should feel a vibration in your throat at the end of the word. This is caused by the vocal cords vibrating and adding to the sound. Now say hiss. This time you should not feel any vibration in your throat. Your vocal cords are not involved in making the sound s. Buzz ends in the letter Z, so it's easy to see that it needs the z sound, isn't it? Hiss ends in the letter S, so it's easy to see that it needs the s sound, right? Wrong. Many words that end in the letter S or have the letter S in them have the z sound, not the s sound. Take the adjective close and the verb cloze. Same spelling, different sounds. What's going on? The adjective close has the s sound, but the verb close has the z sound. This is because the sound in the verb close comes between two vowel sounds. We don't actually say the final vowel sound, but we can say that the s falls between the two vowels. All vowels are voiced, so the s becomes voiced too. In the adjective close, the word ends with the s sound, not a vowel. As we've just seen, the letter S in side words can sometimes be a s sound and sometimes a z sound. Other examples are the words sister and resist. Both contain the letter combination SIST. In sister, the first letter S is s, and the second is s too. In resist, the first letter S is z, while the second is s. In sister, the second S is followed by a voiceless sound t, sister. In resist, the first S is between the vowel sound I and a second vowel sound I. Resist. In the word whimsy, the S is also voiced. Note that it also lies between two voiced sounds. So, I think we can say that if the letter S is between two voiced sounds, it becomes voiced too. Nothing whimsical about that, is there? But what if it falls between two voiced sounds and it isn't pronounced as z? Take the word insist, for instance. The n sound is voiced, and the I sound is voiced, because it's a vowel. But the S stays as s. This is because the word insist is made from two Latin words, in and sister. Originally, the prefix in was separated from the second part of the word, which meant that the S was not between two voiced sounds. Of course, today this distinction has disappeared, but the pronunciation remains. Remember the word resist? We stole this from the French, so it follows the normal rule as the S is between two voiced sounds. The most challenging aspect of the s or z problem lies with plurals. Luckily for us, there are some rules to follow. The first rule for plurals is that when the singular form of the word ends in a voiceless consonant sound, we use s. The voiceless consonants are p, t, k, f, and th. Lip becomes lips. Coat becomes coats. Walk becomes walks. Laugh, which despite its spelling ends in the f sound, becomes laughs. Breath becomes breaths. The second rule for plurals is that when the singular form of the word ends in a voiced consonant sound, or a vowel, we use z. The voiced consonants are b, d, g, v, th, l, m, n, ng, and r. Remember that all vowels are voiced too. Bib becomes bibs. Ride becomes rides. League, which ends in g despite its spelling, becomes leagues. Wave becomes waves. Scythe becomes scythes. Doll becomes dolls. Lamb, which ends in the m sound, not the b, becomes lambs. Hen becomes hens. Sing becomes sings. Caw becomes caws. Words that end on a pure vowel, like b, use the z. Bees. And it's the same for words that end on a diphthong. I have 2 ears, but Van Gogh only had 1 ear. When asked if he wanted a drink, he famously replied, "No thanks, I've got 1 ear." Rule number 3 is concerned with sibilants. Sibilants can be voiced or unvoiced, but they all have a characteristic hissing noise to them. The English sibilants are s, z, sh, ch, j, and j. These sounds are of higher frequency and greater volume than the other sounds we make. We have a unique ending for plurals that are made from words that end in a sibilant. The unique ending is usually said as is, but it can also be said as us. Glass becomes glasses. Breeze becomes breezes. Wish becomes wishes. Watch becomes watches. Judge becomes judges. Very few English words end in the sibilant j. And those that do come from the French. They still follow the rule, however. Cortège becomes cortèges. Now that you know the rules, you can apply them to plurals and to third-person singular verb forms too. I kick becomes he kicks. I beg becomes she begs. I punch becomes it punches. Not only can we apply the same 3 rules to plurals and to third-person singular verb forms, we can also apply them to possessives. The collar belongs to the cat. It's the cat's collar. The bone belongs to the dog. It's the dog's bone. The bell belongs to the church. It's the church's bell. The rules even work with possessive pronouns. Yours, hers, ours, theirs all follow rule number 2, but its follows rule number 1. Did I mention contractions? You can apply the same 3 rules to them too. It is becomes its. He is becomes he's. She is becomes she's. The church is open becomes the church is open. It has becomes its. He has becomes he's. She has becomes she's. The church has got a new leader becomes the church has got a new leader. There are some places that the rules don't apply. There's no obvious reason that the word was ends in the voiced z sound. Indeed, it hasn't always been the case. If we look at the Middle English of Geoffrey Chaucer, we hear the s sound in the word was. The Knight's Portrait, from the general prologue of the Canterbury Tales, looks and sounds a little strange compared to modern English. There was a knight was written and pronounced as a canich there was in Chaucer's time. You can see that the English language is evolving all the time. Now it's getting close to lunch, so I'll close this video and say goodbye. Before I go, let me remind you to visit linguaspectrum.com and take a look at the interactivity that goes with this video. There's a link below. It'll give you lots of practice with the s and z sounds. It's as close as you can get to having a class with a real English teacher. See you soon.